It's the moment you didn't know you're waiting for.
He is Carter.
He's Chad.
And this is the Irish 365 podcast.
Chad, this is Lou Holtz. That's head coach of Notre Dame for 11 years. Greatest experience of my life. They're starting a Notre Dame podcast this summer. I have a podcast as well, but it's not about Notre Dame football, although I wish there were. But congratulations on your success. And it would be nice if I could be on your podcast, but my schedule is so hectic. But anything that has to do with Notre Dame, I'm all for it. God bless you. Go Irish.
Welcome into Irish 365 podcast, episode 25. We've got Virginia preview for you.
Holy cow. 25.
I mean, we got quarter way to 100 episodes.
That's crazy.
There
We've
you
been doing
go.
this for 25 episodes. You know, I was thinking about this today as I was thinking about the podcast.
Yep.
Notre Dame's got 3 games left in our season.
Yep.
25% of our schedule left.
Yep.
Unless we make the playoffs.
Yep.
And then you've got potentially another 4 games.
Yeah.
Like there's 3 guaranteed opportunities.
Yep.
Could be as many as 7.
Yeah.
That's almost
a whole nother season.
a whole other
Yeah,
season.
We're just getting started.
What? So, and I thought about this. We got to TM this right here.
Yep.
Because there is no March Madness equivalent for football right now.
Right. Correct.
Fall football frenzy.
Oh, fall football friends.
Hashtag that.
Yep.
We get ahead of the NCAA. We get ahead of the college football playoff.
You guys can pay us for it. We'll accept
and then
$5 million.
Yeah. Well, it's negotiable. See how it takes off.
Okay.
You know, I mean, we'll go to the highest bidder. So we're going to start right here.
Yeah, Fox, ESPN, who wants it?
Who wants it, right? Fall
NBC?
football frenzy.
Yeah.
Hashtag that.
Yeah.
TM. All right, I'm on it.
DM.
So let's talk about it. We got, that was interesting.
Yeah, that was.
We have got University of Virginia.
Yeah.
The mighty University of Virginia. Our final ACC opponent.
ACC opponent.
What does that mean?
I think that means we need an expert.
We need an expert. Who are we going to call?
Go.
No. Can't call the Ghostbusters.
They're busy.
Although, side note, when planning our trip to New York, I did note or find that there is a Ghostbusters museum.
Huh?
And there's an actual firehouse which was used in the movie Ghostbusters.
Oh, wow.
Which you can tour. That's the headquarters of the Ghostbusters.
Well, thank you for that fun fact.
We may swing by there when we're in New York. We'll see.
We'll see.
But we can't call the Ghostbusters.
Nope.
So we got one option. We got to call him.
Yep, have to.
Our ACC expert.
Yes.
The guy in the middle of ACC country.
Yes. Jordan B.
Jordan B. So we ready to bring him in?
Yep, let's do it. Jordan B, you there?
Jordan.
Oh, man.
Jordan.
Oh, man.
Jordan.
Oh, man.
Do we have a Jordan?
Oh, we got him.
We got a Jordan.
He answered.
There he is.
There.
We've got him in.
All right.
Hey, he answered the call. Jordan, welcome into the Irish 365 podcast.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Our final ACC game of the season. Well, maybe.
Eventually.
Depending on how
Probably.
the college football
Maybe
playoff
not.
works out.
Our last ACC regular season game of the season.
I would love to find us in a scenario where we're playing the ACC champion
Yeah, wouldn't
in the
mind that.
second round. That would be
Wouldn't mind
ideal.
that one bit.
We'll talk about that. I guess.
Haven't lost an ACC school all year. We're gonna keep that rolling.
Why
Right?
start now?
All right.
So let's talk about UVA, Jordan. From your perspective, what do you know about the UVA program?
Yeah, so I had to do some digging on them. I hadn't got a chance to watch much of them play. They did play North Carolina 2 weeks ago, and they were terrible. So it looked like they're more of a pass team, I would say, but they do have a running quarterback. So they had a big win last week against Pitt, where they surprisingly were 170 yards passing, 170 yards rushing, which is the definition of balance. But I think they got a lot of help. They got a 5th down to win the game last week. So,
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you saw that call.
I did not.
4th down play. They got stuffed, and then the referees came in and said they were not in position. And they got to run a play again. And they got
I'll have to look that up yet.
They got the do-over then.
I did not see that actually. Okay, I'll have to look that up.
So,
and I know that Pitt's quarterback got hurt in that game as well. So Pitt wasn't playing their starter; they were to their backup.
Yeah, and the only thing I will note is this is the Chris Tyree revenge game. So
yes,
and I mean, if we're gonna get into that. I mean, he's probably wishing he transferred someone else right now because he's done absolutely. They have not used that. I was literally like, I can kind of follow him all year. Like I follow him on social and seeing posts and whatnot. The dude has. I know he's a wide receiver now.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's a good running back. 3 carries all year.
Yeah.
3 carries and like 22 receptions. Like,
I mean, if we don't punt, we won't see him. So
yeah. It's just like, dude went to Virginia, like, and it's won 3 games the last 2 years, and he's not getting touches. Like, come on, like you said, they have been more of a passing team this year, not by much, but you'd think he'd have some more touch. I mean, he's an explosive guy. He was a fun guy to watch, I always thought.
And we could use him in the receiving corps.
Oh yeah,
he would be a phenomenal asset in our receiving group, but especially with his speed.
Yeah.
He's so freaking quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think I heard the stat line for him last week was 4 catches for like 30 yards and one rush for like 8 or 9. So yeah, he's not getting a lot of activity in the UVA.
And yeah, no touchdowns at all this year.
Yeah.
Hasn't scored once. It's just like, man, that was just surprising. Like, I've been, like I said, kind of following on him, but not like checking stats like I was this week. And it's like, holy cow, they've really been underutilizing him.
Yeah, it's a tough position for that kid to be in. So
yeah, I was gonna say he was trying to hope this probably to be the guy there and then make a jump to the NFL, but now it's like it's gonna be a little bit harder when you're not getting the ball.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to get that NFL film and get invited to the combine. I mean, he could still walk a roster. It's not like he can't,
right?
But it's definitely a lot tough. He got good film from his time at Notre Dame.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, his UVA, he's not got wear and tear on the tires from the UVA experience.
Yeah,
for sure.
Right.
So yeah, that was kind of the thing stuck out for me. Now I was thinking when I saw it was a Chris Tyree revenge game that you'd probably want to parlay him because you like the revenge game guys.
Yeah, I do like the revenge game guys. Let me see if I can pull.
But I don't think you're going to parlay Chris.
Plus 475 to get in the end zone this weekend.
Yeah,
any takers? Yeah, exactly. Hasn't scored all year.
Yeah.
Now, if it's late though, and we've got our backups, and you think they're just feeding him the ball to try to get in?
Yeah.
I don't know if you.
Yeah. You think so?
Yeah, I think there was because he's from Virginia, and there's a couple other guys. I can't remember who it was that they were talking about that he's still good friends with from Notre Dame, and they're from the same area. So they said they're going to be jawing each other, but after the game they'll be friends again. So I'm sure they're going to be looking for bragging rights.
Yeah. And he's a likable guy. I think he was liked in the locker room. He just got in a bad position as a running back.
Yeah, but he graduated. I would say he's a grad transfer. It's his 5th year, right?
Just he struggled early getting playing time because he was there with Logan Diggs, and then I think Kyron Williams when he was first there, and then Audric Estime, and then of course you had Love come in, you had Price come in, you had Jerron Payne who's not played much from injury. Yeah, and so I mean he just
very good
talented dude, just stuck with a bunch of talented backs. So I get why he transferred. It's kind of like Logan Diggs. I got why he transferred as much as I didn't want him to, but we can only there's not enough ball to go around the 5 or 6 guys we got. So
exactly.
Add another guy or two to it. It's like, what do you do now? So, but as a receiver, I think he could have had a real impact this year. But I don't know. No one at receivers had a great impact this year. Even Jordan has not a ton of. But we're going to find out against UVA.
Yep.
So let's break down UVA because as I understand UVA, they've got decent run game, and their passing game is their strength.
Yep. So, quarterback this year though, 12 touchdown passes in the air, 8 interceptions. That I thought was a very interesting stat. And the last couple of games been throwing some picks. The one I was keeping my eyes on. It's like, and Notre Dame's corners aren't necessarily just average by any means. Like our pass defense has been pretty above average this year. So it's like, okay, if he's throwing picks here recently and he's in that kind of funk, doesn't hurt the Irish.
Not going to be ideal for him.
No, not an ideal team to come.
I think the other stat I saw on their quarterback, which is interesting, was like 30 some.
Really, I didn't.
He's been sometimes. He's got like 400 total yards from the line of scrimmage, but after you adjust it for sack loss, it's like 185 or something like that.
Man,
so he's a running quarterback.
Yeah,
but he gets sacked a lot.
Which after a week we're coming off an 8 sack game is not.
Yeah.
Not feeling good for him.
So, I mean, and that's just it. I mean, we're going to, I would expect Notre Dame to bring a pass rush and try and make him go and early off schedule. So I like that. I think that's good for us. So here's kind of, I don't know, breaking it down. If I'm UVA, how am I going to attack the Irish is kind of what I'm thinking. I'm going to try and bring my run game because Notre Dame has shown that, they'll give up 3 and 4 yards a run. and then I'm going to try and sprinkle in the pass, when the opportunity gets. I'm going to try and suck everybody into the box and then try and pass over the top because I'm comfortable passing. I don't know how that works for them, though. I think that we're going to have I don't think their line is strong enough to stop our defensive line from getting in and getting pressure on the quarterback.
Yep.
And I don't think they're going to be good. I think our linebackers and our line are going to be good enough to stop the run. They're going to get, I guess, as I see it, I think they're going to probably have a really good first series because that seems to be what we do. We give the other team a really good first series.
Yep.
They may get a touchdown. They may get a field goal. But that may be the last time they score.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree. But you got to remember, Howard Cross, I know the defense played with them out last week, but I think was announced out this week officially.
Yeah.
So that's a lot just depth. I mean, he's one of our best pass rushers. But the defensive line did play because he got hurt at the end of that first half.
Yeah, somewhere in the second quarter.
I was like, I can't remember second or third quarter off the top of my head. But I mean, they played a decent amount of the game without him last week and still did pretty good. But obviously, it's going to hurt not having that guy in the Howard Cross in the middle. But
I think he could go this week if we needed him.
Yeah.
I think it's probably an ankle sprain or maybe a high ankle sprain even. Just give him another week because Heinisch is undersized.
Yep.
But he's got a motor.
Yeah.
And he's not going to be undersized VA, I don't think. So he's going to be able to compete in that one. So yeah, I think it's probably more precautionary to let Cross just sit.
Yep.
And then let's just roll. And even with the group we got, Young's going to get pressure in there. I mean, we're gonna be all right.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think you're going to see Bowen, you're going to see KVA on some blitzes. I mean, is going to Tolomayako is going to have some blitzes. Like, I think we're going to bring pressure from a lot of different places. Everything but corner blitzes, I think, is what we're going to throw at UVA.
Yeah.
So,
and that's why when I was looking at their stats, they had 3 guys, the quarterback and 2 different running backs, all rush 12. They all had 12, 13, and 14 carries. I was kind of surprised to see the quarterback running that much but maybe, he was getting rushed and got out of the pocket. Because like I one of the stats, because it kind of threw me, the Clemson game that Virginia played, they got down big. But they scored 21 points in the fourth quarter. So, I mean, it was late trash yards, if that's the way you want to look at it. But he got sacked so many times that game. So I think they're susceptible if Notre Dame wants to bring pressure from the front four, linebacker blitzing, spy the quarterback. That's what Kaiser can do really well. So I think that's how they combat them. But I agree, they're going to try to run the ball early to get up on Notre Dame because really, I think that's the playbook. That's what you have to do because Notre Dame, once they get momentum based on everything past the NIU game, I think that's what they've done well. They've started strong and then just continued to just beat down teams. So
yeah, and a couple of interesting stats I saw on this is Notre Dame. This is senior day. Notre Dame hasn't lost a senior day game since 2016, and of the last 3 senior day games combined, I think we're like outscored our opponents like 170-7.
Yeah, it's
like last year was the first time a team scored in the last 3 years on a senior night.
That's a good stat to know.
Yeah, so I think that sets up well because I think the team always plays really well on senior day.
Yeah,
the underclassmen always want to give the seniors something to go out with. Yeah, and the seniors always want to go out like as Marcus has been saying here lately with some individual glory. Yeah, team glory and individual glory.
Now, it is an interesting thing, though, because, senior day is obviously always special. Like, it's your last game at home. But with the new college football playoff, like, Notre Dame's in a very good position. We were talking about this last night. Like, we could be hosting again in just over a month. Like, have another home game. Obviously, senior day is your last guaranteed one. But it's probably exciting for those seniors knowing, okay, we go out and take care of business these next 3 games. We get to come back here one more time. Like, how special would that be for those guys, too, though?
Yeah. I mean, that's just first time ever Notre Dame's played a playoff game at home. So you want to be part of that. And then, let's come back around to college football playoff talk.
I know.
Because there's a whole lot of conversation. I'm sure, Jordan, you've got a lot you can add to that as well.
Yeah.
But there's a whole lot of conversation in regards to college football playoff and how things shake out. And I think we learned a lot from this past week's ranking. I didn't learn a whole lot from the first week, except maybe they valued the Big Ten more than I thought they did.
Yep.
I'm convinced of that now. They value the Big Ten a lot more than I thought they did. But so yeah, going back to this game, I really feel like Notre Dame is just going to do what Notre Dame wants to do.
Yeah.
And the Notre Dame key to victory is passing the ball.
Yep.
I think UVA is ultra susceptible to having the ball passed on them.
Yep.
Riley Leonard's been building up as a better passer. I would think this week is going to be the week that we're going to be pass first, run second a lot.
Yep.
We're going to have enough runs to get Riley comfortable early.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's handing it off to Tyree or Price or whoever, or himself running. But I think we're going to try and throw the ball a lot early, get him comfortable, and then at that point, once we start throwing the ball, the runs are going to open up. There's going to be some big runs come in. So
I was going to say, I mean, Riley Leonard's been running the ball very well as that passing. Like he started off the season running well. Don't get me wrong, but as that passing games got better, like that touchdown run last week was just
it's a beautiful
run.
That was a good run for a running back.
Yeah,
let alone a quarterback.
So as he continues to get that passing game going, and I think it's been tough for receivers because early in the season they didn't have ways to get going, but and there were some drop passes last week. So I think this week I'm expecting a better performance from our wide receivers this week.
Yeah, it was an aberration. It wasn't what I consider standard for the drop ball.
Exactly,
because there were some great catches last week.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I mean
Jaden Harrison, we talked about the other night, had 2 great catches. So, and shout out Jaden Harrison. But
yeah, and I think some of that is just receivers sometimes are thinking about running the ball before they catch it.
Yep.
Usually you see that in middle school, high school. You don't see it as much, but you see it in the NFL every now and then.
Yeah.
Some guy knows he's got yak, and he's just like, "Give me the ball, I'm going," and then, oh crap, I forgot to catch it. So,
yep.
But yeah, so I think that's kind of the Notre Dame MO this week. I think it's run the ball a little bit, just keep them balanced early.
Yeah.
With probably a little bit heavy run or heavy pass, and then you're going to end up settling in the game being pretty balanced at the end, and we should see some Angeli by fourth quarter, if not third quarter.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
There's no Florida State didn't play well, but I think Florida State's more talented than UVA.
Oh yeah.
Now I know people point to UVA and they'll say, "Oh well, Virginia, they kept it close against Clemson." That was a couple late scores that were trash.
Yeah.
They beat Pitt, but like you said, they had a little help on the Pitt game. Pitt's starting quarterback went down, and I don't.
Pitt just lost a battle the week. I lost to SMU the week before. They were definitely probably still hungover on that loss.
Yeah, it was kind of a letdown and like things. So maybe I'm wrong. I think Virginia will have a little success the first drive, and hopefully Notre Dame gets a fast start because if we get a fast start, it's game over. If we get them playing from behind and they have to throw, then it won't be close. It'll be close through the first quarter at best, and then it'll start to run away. Sort of what I expected. What we got from Florida State. I expect sort of the same game.
Yeah,
they might keep it close for a quarter, but after that, it's going to just it'll be domination. I don't know if we'll put up another 50 burger.
Yeah,
but we can talk about that. What do you guys think is the score?
All right, so we're getting into the score predictions.
Let's go with
it. Just a reminder, we did put our post out for our Sam Hartman signed jersey contest already. So just a reminder on that. Make sure you're commenting on that, your score predictions. You are tagging someone, and you are following us, Irish65, on social media, any platform, Facebook, X, or Instagram. So make sure you get on that contest. But yeah, let's get into it. I already put my score prediction out there because I want to make sure no one was stealing it. And I know there's probably some people looking for my score prediction after I was real close last week.
Yeah, they're waiting on me.
Okay. So I've already put mine out there. I've got the Irish 48-10. And I put that out earlier before I knew we've only let up one score in the last 3 senior nights. So
do your research.
I know that's on me a little bit, but still feeling pretty good. 48-10. Like we said, I'm feeling an early field goal from Virginia, a lot of points from the Irish, and then maybe a late score touchdown because we were close to that last week. Florida State scored that late touchdown. Then we obviously got the pick 6 to end the game. But yeah, I think that would be a very, like we said, I think it'll feel a very similar game this week. I'm just hoping for that second and third drive for the Irish to be a little more productive than the 3 and outs we had last week.
I would agree.
And then we'll see Angeli earlier.
So my score was kind of close to yours. Actually, I'm thinking 45-3.
45-3.
I feel like Virginia's going to come down and they're going to get a field goal on their first drive, and then I think after that they're going to basically not do anything else, and I feel like we're going to get a bunch of touchdowns and one field goal somewhere in there.
Yep.
So what do you got, Jordan? What's your thought?
So yeah, when I was looking at it, the spread opened up at 21 and now it's up to 22.5. So I think people they're loving Notre Dame. They're, so the line's moving. I got 41-7. So,
we're all in that same ballpark.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to go
Makes me nervous.
35, but I think they're going to, like last week where, it was, you think it's, they're done. And then all of a sudden there's a pick six, a late pick six, pushes you off your score.
I mean, people are cheering against it. Not me.
So
get jinxed out there, Jordan.
Yeah. I don't know how Virginia's going to get their 7. But I think that they'll manage some score, and Notre Dame will end up pulling it out and put up 41. So,
yeah, I think we're all in the same ballpark. Makes me a little nervous, but I mean, I think I've been seeing some score predictions. A lot of people are in that range as well. We've had some posts come in, and I think people are definitely expecting a similar game as last week. I saw one that was like 35-28, and I was like, I don't think the Irish will end up 28 this week. That's my personal opinion. You have yours. You want to win that jersey, right? So, I mean, someone's got to go for something bold. Bold call, right?
Bold call. I hope they're wrong.
Yep.
But as long as we win, I guess I'm okay with it.
Yep. Got to win. Hey, good teams win. Great teams cover. We've been covering. So, yeah, and I think the weather plays in the favor this weekend as well. I mean, 55, cloudy. Doesn't look like a bunch of wind or rain as of now for South Bend. So I think it'll be a good day for the Irish.
Great football weather.
Yep.
I mean, outside of the Stanford, was it Stanford?
Louisville that it rained a little bit. Yep.
I mean, it's been...
No, it was Stanford rain delay. It did rain a little bit at Louisville, though.
Yeah. Stanford was just kind of a miss, but it's been really good weather for Notre Dame football at home. And I'm hoping that as we get to the college football playoff, maybe that'll change just a slight bit.
Not rain.
Before we go to the college football playoffs, we got to take a step back. We put our score predictions out there. I need to know what the parlay predictions are.
Yeah, we definitely took. I don't want to say we took last week off because me and Jordan both had bets and we were sending back. But the Florida State lines, this stuff wasn't coming out till really late. So we didn't put anything out on social media. I think I hit a small one, but it wouldn't have been my one I was putting out on the podcast. I don't know how you did last week, Jordan, but
loser.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think I had 3 and I had a plus 200 to hit because I think I went like a plus 4 and a plus 350 and they both lost. But all right, well, I'm gonna get into this first. I'm going to say here's a bet that I really like this weekend, talking about Notre Dame defense and Virginia struggling to throw picks. Something to keep an eye out on. Notre Dame defense plus 320 to score this week. I do like those odds. Just with Virginia's turnover problem, and then Irish were real close to blocking a couple punts last week. So I think that's a good spot. I think I like that line, plus 320. I was to get the score last week. Wouldn't be surprised to see them get in this week. But parlay for me this week, we were both texting back and forth in a group chat, and we need a winner. We need one. We're not going something ridiculous.
These 9-leg parlays aren't hitting, which they usually don't.
No. But they're really not hitting right now. So I've got Notre Dame minus 22.5. Going back to all reliable, Jeremiah Love, Riley Leonard get in the end zone, and Jeremiah Love 50+ rushing yards, plus 204.
Wow. See, I think if you take the Jeremiah Love 50 yards off of it, that's a short-term investment. It's almost a guarantee.
Yeah, I almost went Price. Actually, Price's yards aren't up yet, and this is Wednesday night. Maybe I'll probably go Price's yards on a solo just because he's been breaking runs here recently. But Riley Leonard to score a touchdown was like minus 450. I don't know if you know that off the top of your head, Jordan, but I think it was somewhere like 420 something, 450.
Yeah.
And then Jeremiah like minus 250. So
you're not getting yards in there to get something.
Yeah, you're not getting great odds on it now. And we've been hammering that home all year though. Your lock is Notre Dame money line, Riley Leonard getting the end zone, Jeremiah Love. I mean, Jeremiah Love scored 9 straight games, I believe it is, and he's tied for 4th, I think it is, on the most consecutive games in Notre Dame history to score a touchdown. So I think he's jumping up to 2nd because I think people are tied at 2 and
there's a peloton there of group.
Not at 9 and so I think tied at 10. I don't remember exactly, but yeah. So I think Jeremiah Love's for sure getting in, and you saw that last week. He didn't have a great game last week, but they made sure he got in at the end there. They wanted to keep that going.
But his touchdown was short yardage.
Yep.
But it was a heck of a run.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he took an effort, didn't get tackled.
Right. But I mean, if he scored earlier in the game, you can't tell me Riley Leonard's not running that one in.
Well, they might have thrown it to in at that point.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Because Great House made a great catch down to the 1.
Yeah.
I think they'd have gone back to Great House if it wasn't for the...
Yeah, keeping Love streak going there.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, for mine, I going back to the basics. I do got a 5-team parlay, but it's only plus 286. So I got Riley Leonard anytime touchdown, Notre Dame over 31.5 points.
Yep. Like it.
Virginia under 14.5 points.
Like that.
Jeremiah Love anytime touchdown. So just the staples. Get in the end zone, play good defense, score points.
Yep.
That feels more like short-term investment.
Yeah.
So if you think about it this direction, I mean, I don't know. If you put your money in on Wednesday and you get it paid back on Saturday, I mean,
Saturday 7:30.
What's that APR work out to? That's a pretty good interest rate, actually. You can't get that with a CD. I tell you that right now.
I was gonna say one I was also considering throwing in mind was Notre Dame. I think it was minus 13.5 at the half. It's like the Irish have been looking pretty good at halftime. Like I didn't put it in there, but that was definitely one I was thinking about. Definitely like your over on Notre Dame points. Would you say 31.5 or 30?
31.5, yeah.
31.
Yeah, that's a real safe number. I mean, that could be halftime. Like we're talking about. We don't think Notre Dame's going to put up 50 this week, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 35 points at halftime and we score a field goal and a touchdown second half. You know
I would be shocked if Notre Dame scores less than 35. Like, I think 35 is the floor for Notre Dame.
No, I'm just saying in the first half though, you could easily hit.
Yeah, you could hit everything except the total points for Virginia because you won't know that till the end of the game.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you could really easily hit everything except that by halftime in your.
Yeah.
So I like it.
Yeah, I like that one. I mean, it's Riley Leonard, Jeremiah Love. I don't know what the odds for that. I mean, you wouldn't be plus money, but you're probably minus 150 if you're just looking for something like that. It's like those two guys are going to get in the end zone every single week, and there's no reason to think they're not going to this week.
Yeah.
I mean, barring an injury, there's no way.
And definitely I'll be looking at, like, when these lines come out, first touchdown score. I feel like Riley Leonard's been scoring the first touchdown. I haven't actually counted how many games back in a row, but it seems like every other game or 2/3 of the games he's been scoring first. I almost went on it last week, and I did it, and the odds are like plus 350, I think, for him to score the first touchdown. So that once that line comes out, I'll be considering that under 250. Personally, so I like that one.
Yeah.
Well, we know if we get inside the 25 and he's got a chance to run, he will. Because to quote you, Jordan, he's a vulture.
Yeah,
touchdown vulture.
He is. He vultured one from 35 yards out last week. So.
Hey, but again, it was a great run for a quarter. It was a great run for a running back. And it highlighted the team. If you really pay attention to that play and you look at it the bigger picture, I mean, receivers blocking downfield, linemen doing their job, guys trying to get open, corners being turned, backs turned to the quarterback, opportunity for him. So it wasn't a bad run.
Yeah.
And he's going to do it. We know that Riley's run, Riley, run. We know that's going to happen.
Run, Riley, run.
Let's talk college football playoffs.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this was exciting last night. I mean, it was sucked. It was in between the basketball games just because I was like, man, they always do that so you get good ratings on the basketball games and the college football playoff. But I'm like, you just don't have that set time for it. And I was like, man, I really want it. Like, I want this. Like, where are we at? Because we had some big losses like we talked about on our Florida State preview in front of us. Where are these teams going to fall? Where is Georgia going to fall? Where is Miami going to fall? And we got those answers.
Yeah, I honestly was fearful that Notre Dame was going to get jumped by Ole Miss
or Alabama,
and that like Georgia wasn't going to fall behind us. Like I was just like, we're gonna be sitting at 11 or 12, and if we're at 12, we're outside.
Yeah,
I really was like, that was my fear that was what was going to happen.
Luckily, we didn't get that though.
No. So, what was your expectation, Jordan?
So, when they started running through it, I don't know. I don't know if I think there's Notre Dame bias against them, but I thought they're going to be at 9. They're not going to be hosting a game. They're not going to. Nothing happened. They're not valuing our wins. Because once I saw Ole Miss at 11, I was like, okay, I see that there's definitely these SEC teams are just going to move them around a lot. So, so I was just kind of expecting Notre Dame to be 9 or 10, and they fell at 9. So,
well, we fell at 8 in the ranking, 9 in the seeding. So,
yeah,
which I honestly am completely fine with right now. I think that's a great position for the Irish to be in. We have plenty of opportunity. We're 1 seed away from hosting a game. And we've got teams in front of us they're going to lose, like guaranteed.
IU's ahead of us. Ohio State's ahead of us.
And they play.
Georgia's ahead of us.
Georgia's behind us.
Georgia's behind us. Now,
Tennessee's right in front of us. Georgia, Tennessee this weekend.
And Tennessee is going to be without
their starting quarterback. Yep.
So
if Georgia wins that game by a lot, they probably don't come back and jump us because, well, you beat Tennessee at home with the backup quarterback.
Yeah.
Now Tennessee's going to fall because they lost, theoretically.
Yeah. And it's a concussion on their quarterback. So, I mean, is it a couple weeks? Is it a week?
Yeah.
Like,
I'd imagine this week and then probably back for next week. But yeah, you never know the severity of one of those. But
and hopefully it's not severe.
Yeah.
For his sake.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely excited where the Irish are at because you're assuming Ohio State's going to beat IU, is where I'm at. And I think IU will fall, but if it shows anything, obviously we don't have the college football playoff rankings before this moment, but Penn State didn't, I would assume, not fall very far in that college football playoff ranking, considering they're 5 right now when they lost to Ohio State. And Penn State was at home. IU's going to be on the road. And that game wasn't like a blowout by any means, but if you watched it, it never felt like Penn State was really in the game. Like, and that was one we had the chance to actually watch because we're on bye. So yeah, I don't know. That's my only thing is IU. How far is IU going to fall when they lose to Ohio State? And then on the flip side, if IU wins, I don't see Ohio State falling very far. They're not falling behind us. I don't think. I think they'll still be in front of us.
I could see Ohio State falling behind us.
I guess they'd be 2 losses
if they have 2 losses.
I forgot they played Oregon.
So right now, if you look at what the committee did, they value a 1-loss Big Ten team more than they value a 2-loss SEC team.
Yeah,
but how do they compare a 2-loss Big Ten team to a 2-loss SEC team? I think they're going to give a nod to the SEC. Now, I could be wrong. That may.
I mean, they got 4 of the top 5 right now, which is just nuts.
Yeah, and they're not going to get more than 4 in. SEC's not going to get more than 4 in unless, like, Notre Dame doesn't take care of business and falls out.
Yeah,
and then I think there's an opportunity for a 5th team. I don't think it'll be a second ACC team in now that Miami's lost. And I don't think there'll be a second Big 12 team.
No.
So Colorado runs the table and somehow wins the Big 12 championship.
BYU.
I don't think BYU gets in.
Yeah.
If they lose to Colorado in the championship game. Yeah. I don't think their resume is strong enough. Same thing with SMU runs the table and wins it. I don't think Miami gets in.
Yeah.
I don't think a 2-loss Big 12 or 2-loss ACC team gets that spot.
No.
So if Notre Dame stubs its toe and doesn't make the 12-team playoff, then I think you've got a scenario where
5 either SEC or
5 either big. And I've seen this on social media a couple different times. There's a potential for 6 2-loss SEC teams.
Yeah,
and that will be chaos. I mean, how is the committee going to parse who gets to go and who doesn't?
Yeah,
I mean, for us, I think best case scenario is somehow A&M figures out a way to
win the SEC.
To get it done and win the SEC.
Yeah.
If we take care of business and they win the SEC, and then we've got a win over a top 4 seeded A&M team, that just builds our resume, and you can forget about that recency bias thing coming into play because that NIU loss, as bad as it was, isn't relevant anymore.
Yeah.
It was second game of the season.
So one of the best tweets I saw today was that it's going to be hilarious to watch all these SEC and Big Ten people talk about how not important a conference champion is when they're trying to fight for these teams that aren't in their conference championship. They should be in the playoff. I saw that and I was like, oh yeah, that'll help Notre Dame a little bit. Like, well, they weren't in the conference championship. Does it really matter? I mean,
yeah.
So I did enjoy those tweets. They were coming out saying today when all these SEC and Big Ten people are trying to defend why you should have 4 teams in. So like, well, 2 of those weren't in a conference championship. So that'll be interesting to see play out. But here's my scenario last night. Here's how I see things shaking out. You know this one.
I know. And I think you made an observation. I like it.
Yeah. So in front of us, we're at that 9 seed right now.
Yep.
Now this is before the Tennessee quarterback was ruled out. So I just said, what happens if everyone who's supposed to win wins the rest of the season, right? We're looking at Tennessee. If Tennessee can beat Georgia this week, which is going to be more difficult, they're on the road now on the back of quarterback. So it's not. It's not out
of the question.
Well, no, it's not out of the question.
Georgia's defense is really good.
Yeah.
Tennessee's offense has been really good, but it's going to struggle without their quarterback. Georgia's offense has been horrid, and Tennessee's defense is good.
Yeah.
I mean, it may be a 9-6 game,
Yeah.
but Tennessee can win it.
So in that situation, let's say Tennessee beats Georgia this weekend. Georgia falls back more. Tennessee stays in front of us.
Yep.
Then we've got next weekend IU Ohio State.
Someone's got to lose.
Someone's got to lose. We're just going to assume Ohio State wins that match, and they'll still be in the playoff, but they'll fall back a few spots. Jordan, do you know who's right behind us in that ranking? Alabama.
Yes. Yeah.
So let's just pretend that everyone moves up one spot in that ranking, and IU falls back to like that 10 spot. Now we're looking at Notre Dame as the 8 seed and Alabama moving up 1 to the 9 seed, and Alabama coming to South Bend, Indiana.
In December.
Could you imagine the ratings and the
sign me up
tickets on that bad boy?
Yeah. Well,
I don't want to see the prices.
Yeah. I completely agree, because I was making some notes. I think this week, because, I'm assuming Georgia at home, like you said, backup quarterback, even though Beck has been throwing interceptions left and right. I still think that they win, and it's a swap. So I think Georgia moves in, Tennessee moves out. Everything else stays the same. Notre Dame's still going to be sitting at 9. I think next week,
So you're saying you think if Georgia wins against Tennessee this week, they jump us?
Yes, because I think the committee
and jump Bama.
I don't think they do. There's still 2 losses. I think they stay behind.
And Bama beat them earlier.
Right. So that's the tricky part is Tennessee, that Tennessee Bama game, the fact that Tennessee won, and you can't.
Yeah.
I don't know what the committee is going to do with that, but I say in the sense of I think there's a swap in that Tennessee falls out, Georgia comes in.
Mm-hmm.
But Notre Dame is not going to get any love for winning.
So
that's what I'm afraid of.
The best part about this is Alabama is the SEC team right behind us, and their schedule is horrendous down the stretch. Like they played 9-1 Mercer this week.
Yeah,
like that's their best game, and they've got Auburn and Mississippi. Oh, I'm forgetting their game in between there, but yeah, it was like their
SEC schedule.
If they were going to jump us, it would have been last week when they blew out LSU on the road.
Yeah.
So the fact because that's what I was like. If they jumped us last week, I'm like, well, that stinks. But like. They shouldn't. I mean, if they win a game 70-0, okay, it was Auburn, it was Murray, like Mercer. My bad. It's just like they shouldn't have a position to jump us. And since they're the team right behind us, it's like I don't see any SEC schools jumping Bama at this point. Just because Tennessee's ahead of them right now, Alabama has Georgia in the head-to-head.
Unless we lose, I don't think Alabama jumps us because the schedule doesn't allow it. Like you said, LSU would have been the time to jump us if they were going to jump us, and I was afraid they were. So I think the only way Alabama gets ahead of us is if somehow they make the SEC playoff and they
SEC championship,
or championship, and they win it.
Yeah,
and then it's irrelevant because they're a top 4 seed.
Yeah,
and I'm really rooting for Tennessee to win the game this weekend.
Yeah,
as much as Georgia winning helps us as the seeding goes.
Yeah,
because there's one team I've always been concerned about is just that Georgia defense.
Yeah,
if Tennessee finds a way to beat Georgia, they are not in the game. They're out. They're done. And then I'm like, there's not a team left in the conference playoff or college football playoffs that I'm like Notre Dame can't beat. I feel like our chances of beating anybody's there, but I think they're really a lot better outside of Georgia. I'm still going to shine Alabama 2012 still stuck in my head. I mean, we got beat down hard.
Yeah.
But I think this isn't a Nick Saban all-world Alabama team either.
I mean, they lost players. They brought new players in. I mean, it's still Alabama. I don't want to.
They got talent.
Yeah.
They're talent for days.
Yeah.
But so I think that's kind of an interesting this whole hashtag again, fall football frenzy.
There you go.
Trademark that. I'm on it.
TM.
Hey, if you
can't use it.
That's right. I sent myself a letter in a sealed envelope, and I've got it sitting here at the house. So I've got proof that this was something I hashtagged long before. And
yes, and now it's got
US
audio.
Postal Service has got a date stamp. So
well,
that's your boy if you want to buy it. I'm highest bidder.
The only other thing that I was making some notes on was I don't like Notre Dame at that 8-9 right now because it leads to a 1, and I think Oregon is still the best team. But like you said, there's next week is going to be the movement week with IU and Ohio State. I think also the committee, if I'm not trying to look too far ahead, but if we're able to beat Army, that is a quality win now.
Yes.
And that will definitely help. I think beating Florida State, even with style points, did nothing. And Miami, just frauds. Their defense is so bad.
We want him.
He's probably going to win the Heisman, but they've played with fire for 3 or 4 different games this year. And it finally came back. He just couldn't overcome it. But their schedule's easy till they control their own destiny to get that 4 seed.
But are they going to be SMU in the championship game though?
See, I don't know.
It's hard to. I don't know SMU. Yeah, but it's like if Miami's as bad as I think SMU's decent. They destroyed Pitt,
and SMU lost to Oregon by 3.
BYU. They played BYU at the beginning of the season.
BYU. I'm sorry. BYU.
Yeah. You're thinking Boise. I think.
I'm thinking. Yeah, Boise lost.
BYU, Boise, same story. But
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think SMU might surprise some people and jump in there, and then I think Miami's out. I don't think. As you saw, the committee drop Miami so far. Like, I don't think the committee's like convinced them. But as an undefeated Power 5 champ, it's looking like they were up there. So, but they're definitely put them in a position where if they lose that ACC championship, see ya.
So go, Jordan. Finish this thought, Jordan, because I'm going to go a different direction. Ask you guys a couple of questions, but finish this thought.
I hate that this entered my brain last night because the ACC is so bad, and Notre Dame would be coasting into the 4 seed is if we just join the terrible ACC. But I don't want to. But I just want to know that if we run into this scenario again where we have 1 loss and there's all these other teams that then get to play a conference championship, does that move the needle? I don't think so because Notre Dame's still been able to hold out. But still, just interesting for me to think about.
I don't think so. Just from the fact, though, because think about how much money we're going to make hosting a home playoff game.
Well,
you know what I mean?
And that's of us hosting one though now, at least. So,
I'm saying it's not a guarantee, but it's like, the ACC is bad, but also if we're 1 loss like Miami, and then we lose that ACC championship game, and the ACC's garbage like the rest of it, we're probably still out with 2 losses. Like nothing's changed in this situation. You know what I mean? Like if we lose a non-conference game to NIU early in the season, and then we lose an ACC championship game, we're probably going to be out. I don't see the situation changing like with the current ACC because you're not going to have. You played with 6 or 5 ACC games. 5?
Well, we just talked about it. If you don't win the ACC championship, you're not in.
Yeah.
So that's not much different than where we're at now.
Yeah.
As far as whereas if we join the Big Ten or we join the SEC, you could get in with 2 losses.
Yeah, potentially 3. Yeah.
I mean, so now there's this whole thing that's out there. There's this rumored thing where they're trying to get a super conference together of 30 to 60 teams, and conferences go away in college football. I don't know if this particular latest rumor is going to happen. I know I've heard these kind of rumors about super conferences for at least a decade.
Yeah.
I know there's been serious talks. I know people that are in the know, and I know for a fact there's been serious talks about it. It's just not happened because all of the conferences do not want to give up their football affiliation because there's a lot of money to that.
Yeah.
And someone's got to convince them that a sports network's going to pay big money to do that.
Yeah.
But I think there's a better chance of conferences going away in football than there is Notre Dame joining a conference in football. And then I would think that'd be awesome because then I could see Notre Dame finally joining the Big Ten for all other sports, which I think makes so much sense on a lot of different levels except football. Just, not having the volleyball team. Well, I don't know about but I think the Big Ten gets realigned. I don't know. I don't know if you're because I think you're going to follow something similar with basketball.
Yeah.
If you go to this super conference for football, I think you take your basketball into the super conference as well. And then all other sports fall into your just regional conferences.
Yep.
But we'll see. That's probably 5 to 6 years down the road. Something pops there. So here's the question I've got for you guys.
Yeah.
And I think this is a great question. I've stewed on this a lot. If we take the top 4 seeds right now, and we just kind of leave them as they are, we assume everybody wins. So let's just say Miami's that 4 seed.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Notre Dame versus Miami?
Very confident.
Yeah, they have Notre Dame wins. Yeah,
Spread's probably 12.5. Be my guess.
Yeah. I mean, Miami's strength is the passing game. Notre Dame's strength is defending the pass.
Yep.
I don't know Miami being a great run team. They're beatable, right? So I agree with you guys. So now you go to the 3 seed. That's BYU. How do you feel about Notre Dame versus BYU?
Yeah, I haven't seen BYU play like a whole lot. Like I've been trying to, but it's been late night. But they've been in a lot of close games against teams I don't think I'm not very high on. So I think the Irish, that would probably be closer than Miami, closer than Miami, but I still think the Irish win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you go to that 2 seed, and now you're looking Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel against Notre Dame against this year's Ohio State team?
That's where you start getting questionable, right? I mean, we were that close to beating Ohio State last year. So I don't want to say like we're not going to win against Ohio State, but we were that close to winning. So put us on a neutral site, give us 11 players on the field.
I mean, there's 11 players. Yeah. There's 11 players on the field.
Missed pick.
There was the missed pick just 3 plays before that through the guy's hands.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't feel like it's a we can't win game.
No.
And I mean, what is Ohio State's strength? They're balanced, but they don't stand out like this forward passing. They've got a good defense.
Yeah, very good defense.
But I think a running quarterback and a strong running game. Now, our passing game's not awesome, but it's getting better.
Yep.
Hopefully we fix that this weekend. We get some more passes going.
Yep.
But I don't fear Ohio State this year the way I would
most years. Yeah.
A lot of years. I mean, they're not that same Ohio State.
Yeah. Now they've had a lot of players playing these giant games and all that stuff. So edge goes there to them. I wouldn't say
they've got experience.
I would say they've got like if it was you're going out of 100%, Ohio State's probably 55% chance to win that one in my opinion. But Notre Dame's not out of it. And it's not like I'm like, oh gosh, we're gonna get our butts kicked. Like
right.
Yeah, I don't think
you'd lean Ohio State, but it wouldn't be like in huge margins.
I don't feel like I'm Florida State going to Notre Dame where I need food poisoning of the other team to have a chance.
No.
I mean, so yeah, I think that's kind of interesting. And of course, now let's go to the last one.
Oregon.
What if we have to place number 1 Oregon?
I mean, team hasn't lost all year, but they played Ohio, and it's the same thing that they beat Ohio State by a point at home. I mean, I'd take them on a neutral site. I mean, that's probably very similar to Ohio State in my opinion.
What is Oregon's strength though?
I mean, they're up tempo, they're quick,
up tempo passing game.
Yep.
They got a good quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't think
they turn the ball over very much. But yeah, I mean, we match up very well.
Have they played a secondary with our caliber of talent?
I mean, Ohio State secondary is not bad.
Yeah. But is Ohio State's, because see, I think Ohio State's schedule is pretty weak outside the Oregon, and I'm not sure Oregon's schedule was that great.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's better than IU's.
Yeah.
So I feel like Notre Dame can match up pretty well against Oregon.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
Oregon doesn't have the big SEC defenders blocking the run. They've got smaller athletic guys.
Yeah.
And I think our linemen are gonna be able to bully them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And Riley Leonard's propensity to run is gonna be a neutralizer to their defense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I like my odds best against Michigan or Miami and BYU.
I really like our odds,
but I don't hate my odds. Yeah, I like my odds against Michigan. I don't hate my odds against Oregon or Ohio State.
Now, I would rather not go out to the Rose Bowl and play one of them, just where they're comfortable. They've played a bunch in recency. You know what I mean? Like I'd rather.
Sorry, we had Ohio State at 2. It's actually Tennessee would be that 2 seed.
Well,
or Texas would be the 2 seed.
I understand what you're saying though. Yeah, but Ohio State's up there. Like they're a team, top 5 team. Texas is up there. Yeah.
So how do you feel about Notre Dame versus Texas?
I mean, there's nothing that. I mean, they're so inconsistent. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it depends what team you get that day.
I think Texas has got a pretty weak schedule.
Yeah. And I mean, they beat. Yeah.
Who they beat?
Yeah, they beat
so far.
Bama. Or Georgia.
They beat
Georgia. Right? Georgia?
Was it Georgia they beat?
Yeah. Now you've got us thinking. They beat Georgia.
Yeah. But if A&M knocks them off here Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm more concerned about beating Texas than I am, Miami or gosh, I won't say Michigan, Miami or BYU.
Yeah.
But I don't think that Texas is a team that we can't beat. I don't think Oregon's a team we cannot beat.
Right.
I think those are 2 teams that, again, not easy games, but winnable games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I go back to Marcus Freeman. he has been good in big games.
Very true.
He's lost focus in lesser games.
Yeah.
And now you get through these next 3 games.
Yeah.
And every game's a big game. We're gonna be competitive. I'm not saying we're gonna win,
Right.
but I'm sure we're gonna be competitive. It's not gonna be not gonna be the deers in the headlight look we had against the 2012 Alabama team where we couldn't do anything. I mean, Manti Te'o and Lewis Nix were the only 2 guys that looked good in that game.
Yeah.
And
Which
Lewis
Kansas
Nix
State didn't lose.
Lewis Nix didn't do anything. He just took up double and triple teams.
Yeah.
Like he didn't beat them, but like it's like, guys, you're triple teaming our freaking nose guard.
Yeah.
Someone else get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
Please.
Thanks Kansas State for losing.
Yeah.
And
so I think it's kind of interesting when we get to the playoffs. It's like one game at a time. Can't jump ahead too far ahead.
Yeah.
But I don't fear it. Now, I don't know, Jordan, what you hear from the SEC or the ACC contingent in your area, but I got to just office stories this week from the people I work with. The IU people are fearful that they're going to somehow they're gonna lose to Ohio State this weekend and get their first or next weekend get their first loss, and then Michigan is somehow some way going to beat Ohio State, and then IU is going to end up in the Big Ten championship. And of course, only an IU football fan would say this. We don't want to go to the Big Ten championship because we're going to lose to Oregon. And then we're a 2-loss team and we're probably out.
Yeah.
And it's like, so IU's planning, the IU faithful, they're not used to this winning thing, but they're realistic. They're absolutely afraid they're going to lose to Ohio State. Ohio State's going to lose to Michigan, and then they're going to get throttled by Oregon, and they're going to lose an opportunity to be in the playoff. And I thought
that seemed all right.
I thought that was interesting. And now the Michigan guys are all like, we've got to beat Ohio State because we've got nothing else going for us.
Yeah.
We've got to beat Ohio State. It's all hands on deck. That's the mission. So I thought that was kind of an interesting mix from those side of the Big Ten. Like, oh, okay. The Ohio State guys, they're gonna win it all. There's no talking to those guys. They're gonna win it all. And the Purdue guys are just
Purdue. Hey,
let's talk basketball.
No, Purdue. Let's come in clutch these next couple of weeks. Let's go out and beat Penn State this week. I saw you can get into that game this week for $6.
That's Ross-Ade, right?
Yeah, at Ross-Ade. Sadly, it's not a night game because it's like, give me Purdue on a Penn State upset. How awesome would that be? And then maybe Purdue just pulls it off at the end of the year against IU.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Purdue IU game has trap game written all over it. If IU finds a way to beat Ohio State
and then loses,
and there's no reason that Purdue should even be in the same locker room field vicinity as IU at that point, and then it'd be the most Purdue thing to do.
Purdue IU thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's the old Oaken bucket. Those records out the window. It's all out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's kind of interesting. But yeah, I just talking to some of the guys that are just different fans of different schools, and I haven't had a chance to talk to any of my SEC guys, and hear them talk. We've had conversations on Zoom calls and Teams meetings, but not in person where we get into the football conversation. So I'm curious to hear how the SEC guys are going, because they've got to be boiling over with the fact that the Big Ten bias seems to be more prevalent in this college football playoff poll than, and I don't know, you've got some SEC tips in your area. Is there anybody in the SEC that's like, besides, because I still don't know how Penn State's in this thing. Like,
that's what I'm coming back to. Like, Penn State is just going to hide and sit at 6. Like, they're going
to be at home,
not going anywhere. And as long as they win out, I try to do. I looked it up today. I still tried to read the tiebreaker rules for the Big Ten championship. I still couldn't understand it. I needed like so many diagrams, but I think it's going to be Ohio State if they beat IU and Oregon.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
which that's in Indianapolis, and I'm like, man, that might be a decent game to go to. Like, buy tickets to. It's like Big Ten championship. I've never actually went because it's usually the East-West, and I think is that the East always kills whoever's in the West. Like,
you get an Iowa or Wisconsin against a powerhouse. And
then it's just like, but it's like, man, you could get that. Imagine that Oregon Ohio State rematch game at Lucas Oil. Like,
it's a game I'd want to go see.
Yeah, like that would be entertaining. So I mean, if they get anything near that game that was in Oregon, now you put it on a neutral site. I mean, it's going to be Ohio State home crowd. You're not going to, I'm sure, have some Oregon people there, but for the most part, it's going to be Ohio State home crowd. So
I know. I think one other thing I was, listening to when I was driving on the way home, they were talking about Miami's loss being just a bad loss. and that I think a lot of the ACC fans are still annoyed at Clemson's loss at Louisville, because I think they're still on the Clemson bandwagon that they're a better team. And the fact that, they just lost to Georgia in that week 1 blowout, but so that kind of exposed them. So I think they're just down on the ACC football. They're just, it's the fact that the highest seeded, ranked team is going to get that bye, but knowing that it's a house of cards and they're not going to do well. So,
yeah, just back to your point about Penn State, though. What keeps going through my head is just obviously Ohio State, Penn State was that Fox got to choose that big noon kickoff game. All I can think about in my head is how bad ESPN wants that Penn State whiteout game at night.
Yeah. I think that'll be the interesting thing is which game's Friday, which game's that noon game on Saturday, which game's the afternoon game, and then which game's that Saturday night game. And I think the least desirable, you and I talked about this last night, Carter, I think the least desirable is probably that second game on Saturday. I think the noon game on Saturday would be good. I think your biggest matchup, your best matchup's definitely going to be your Saturday night game.
Yeah.
And I think that Friday night game could be your second biggest matchup.
Yeah.
And so
kind of kick it off.
Yeah, so it depends on if Notre Dame's hosting Alabama at home.
Yeah,
that's got a real strong possibility to be that Saturday night game.
Yeah,
I think it does. And then the other games are going to be a little less exciting, but I think they're all going to be competitive games. I don't think any of them I'm looking at saying in the first round I'm going, oh, there's
definitely a stronger year with the group of 5, because you could always see that in some years. If it's an Army that sneaks into that group of 5, like if Boise State's not in that position, Army sneaks into that group of 5 champ spot. It's like, okay, that game might not be close. But this year's a good, like Boise State's been competitive. They've been really good. Close loss to Oregon, like we said. So I think all the games are going to be interesting this year. And that's the exciting part about it.
I'm going to call this now, but my gut feel is the Big 12 or the ACC champion is not going to be the 4th seed. I think Boise State is going to be the 4th seed.
That'd be interesting.
I think they'll be the highest ranked conference champion. I think Boise State will end up being.
So you're saying Colorado's going to sky up? Is that what your guess then?
I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know. I just feel like Boise State is going to be
number 4.
Or all said and done.
Do you think they get up to 3?
I don't think they'll get to 3. Because unless something happens where BYU and Miami both don't win their conference championship.
Yeah.
I can see Clemson beating Miami. I could see SMU beating Miami.
Yeah.
If they play in a conference champion. I could see Colorado beating BYU in a conference championship. I can't see both of those happening, but I can see that happening where one of those teams is all of a sudden they're conference champion, but they're ranked behind Boise State.
Yeah.
Boise State may be 11 or 10, and they may be 12 or
Boise dropped this week to 13.
Yeah. I mean, I could see a scenario where Boise State moves up because there's the IU is going to lose or Ohio State's going to lose.
Yep.
We know that Tennessee or Georgia is going to lose.
Yep.
And so I think Boise State can move up, and I think either BYU or Miami is going to stub their toe, and somebody else is going to win that conference. I don't think both those teams
get in.
I think one of them is going to lose again.
I think it'd be very interesting first year to get one of those group of 5 teams to buy. Like, how funny would that be?
Oh, it would be awesome.
Yeah, so
it would be awesome. I mean, that's that hashtag fall football frenzy.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
You're really trying to get this going.
I'm going to get a t-shirt.
You'll see it on social.
We need that domain name. Get that domain.
I'll get on that. I'll get my lawyer.
Before we post this podcast, we need that domain locked up.
So I'm going to do that before I edit this video.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that'll be kind of interesting. But I really feel like Boise's going to find that 4th spot, and Boise may be the most challenging team to play. I don't know. They may be it. So we just got to get another data point next week.
Oh yeah,
and then I think it'll all be really clear 2 weeks from now.
Yeah,
and I think it'll all settle in. We won't know exactly who the conference champions are going to be.
I say you say that, but then after that we've got Texas A&M.
I know, but
I was gonna say that's the great part. We got like a big matchup every week. We're like, all right, someone's got to lose. Like,
Notre Dame just got to win the next 3 games.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. And I think Clemson's not been what they were. I mean, their coach, we hadn't even talked about it. Their offensive coordinator left and went to Virginia, and we're going to face him this week, and he's in the hot seat. He's struggled.
Yeah,
but Clemson's just not been as good since he's gone from Clemson to Virginia.
Yeah.
And
or Variables, whatever his name is, to Oklahoma a few years ago.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah. I think about the same time.
So I mean, could Clemson beat Miami? Yeah. Could SMU beat Miami? Yeah. I mean, could Colorado go on a run? And can you imagine a situation where Colorado is the Big 12 champion and they somehow get themselves in the playoffs, but they're not the number 4 seed because that goes to Boise State. Now someone has to go play Colorado in December.
Yeah.
So you got the altitude, and you got the cold weather,
and a hot team because they've been winning.
Send let's say A&M beats Texas.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna send Texas up to Colorado.
Yeah.
To play a neutral or a game.
Yeah.
In the first round, and you got a cooler weather, and you've got the altitude advantage. It could be crazy. I mean, I could see Colorado getting in, being getting a first round game, and then somehow winning it. And again, I'm okay with that because if Notre Dame finds themselves playing Colorado in a second round game on a neutral site, I'll take my chances.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll take my chances with anybody in the playoffs. There's teams I'd prefer, but
playoffs,
yeah,
stuff's gonna happen.
Yeah,
and I think the only other thing that I'm looking at is what the committee is going to do with Ole Miss. They valued that win against Georgia, so they bumped them up. So they're sitting at 11 in the CFP, but I don't know what their schedule's like. Clearly, they're not going to make it to the conference championship. So if they win out, how do you bump them out?
Yeah.
They're like Penn State, where they don't have much left in front of them, but you've already put them now in. So
they're in such a good position that they're not gonna just bump out for nothing.
Correct. And I think that's the hard part that I'm trying to figure out what the committee's doing, because you can see it with Tennessee and Georgia. That's going to eliminate one, and so some of these teams will cannibalize each other, but it's Penn State that's just sitting there that isn't going to be in the Big Ten championship and doesn't have much left in front of them. They can win out and just exist.
Yeah. So Ole Miss has Florida and Mississippi State left.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just like Bama, they're in, you know what I mean?
So what scenario can happen that they can get jumped and bumped out? So I don't know that yet.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. I really don't. So again, have Ole Miss come up to South Bend in the second week of December, play a football game.
Yeah,
I'm all up for that.
This is Bama, Mercer, Oklahoma, and Auburn. That's who it was, Oklahoma. So just I think Bama's in. I think Ole Miss is in, like you said. It's just And it's funny because we're talking about these teams we're not talking about Oregon being a lot. Oregon, I think obviously is
Oregon's a lock,
right? I'm just saying, but we're not talking about the 1, 2, 3, 4. We're talking about 10 and 11. They're like, well, you guys are in. Congrats, you're in. Don't know where yet, but you'll be in. So it's just funny that way. And we're trying to figure out the middle right now. Teams who actually have to play someone this time.
I mean, Penn State seems to be a lock. I still can't figure that out, but I don't see any scenario where they're out. I mean, Ohio State seems to be a lock.
Yeah. They're not locked yet. They got to play Indiana. So
I mean, they should beat Indiana. They should beat Michigan.
Yep.
If somehow they stumble on those two games, which is possible.
Yep.
IU may be better than I give them credit for, and Michigan is a rivalry. You throw out the records, you throw out the
Ryan Day versus Michigan.
I mean, Connor Stallion may be on the sideline in disguise.
Bring him back.
We don't know.
Bring him back for that one.
But at this point, I mean, it's kind of interesting to say, I think there's a lot of teams that are feeling pretty good about their spots. I mean, Notre Dame's a lock as long as we take care of business.
Oh yeah,
and I don't think. I mean, Virginia should be a hands down no brainer.
Yep.
Based on the fact that we know the triple option, we should feel really good about the Army game.
Yep.
I think USC is probably a slightly more talented version of Florida State, and if they show up, they could be very competitive. But they may phone it in, and Lincoln Riley may have lost the team by the time we get there.
Give us the kickoff time.
Yeah.
Give us the kickoff time. Come on now. ABC, ESPN.
Yeah.
Stop holding us around. Give us the kickoff time.
So anyway, I
we'll
think
make you a deal on the hashtag. Give us the kickoff time.
Yeah, we can work out an agreement. We can
do
get
your job.
Discount.
Give us the time.
Do your job. Do your job, ESPN. I don't think we have any players this week when you call out do your job, do you?
I don't think we do.
ESPN. So I think it's ESPN, do your job. ABC, do your job.
I thought Maddie called out to do your job on the referees last week.
Yeah.
I think that was the only appropriate job
I think so.
that was needed. So
Yep. I think so, yeah. And more ACC refs this week. Lucky us.
And I'm feeling pretty good because I did not get my red velvet cake during the game.
Yeah.
And we still won. So had we lost that game, I would have felt like
You're taking the blame.
The whole thing was on me, and I was going to be, contraband red velvet cake somehow into the stadium.
Yeah.
I did learn through Google searches that I can get Carlo's Bakery red velvet cheesecake slices at my local Walmart. I should say, but I can get a bundt cake that I can sneak in, or I can get a slice of red velvet I can sneak in.
You work security at Notre Dame. You're not listening to this.
Yeah. Ushers, please don't pay attention. Look the other way.
Yeah, no kidding. Get this man his red velvet.
Hey, all I know is there was a guy behind us about 3 rows in the stands that stuck in some beers.
Yeah.
So if he can sneak in beers, surely I can sneak in
cake's
red velvet cake.
I'm just drunk. Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Because I was looking for the Marcus Freeman green velvet cookie, which is really good, and I didn't see any of those in the
stadium.
Inside the stadium.
Yeah.
They're outside the stadium, but it's like there's got to be a concession stand that sells them. I just haven't figured out which one yet.
Yeah.
I bet you if I was in the box, I'd have got a Marcus Freeman cookie for sure. So anyway,
all righty. Well, let's wrap up this podcast. We're getting ready for Virginia. Hit all your parlays this week. Get those score predictions in. Get this Sam Hartman jersey. It's taking up space in our studio.
Oh, yeah.
You guys go win this week. Tag those people. Follow us. Get those score predictions up there. Take this jersey away from us.
There's enough people participating. Someone's got to hit.
Someone's going to win.
Someone's got to hit.
We're feeling good. Someone's going to win.
And the number keeps growing every week. So someone's going to hit. This is it. I think someone's hitting.
Let's do it, people. Let's do it. So,
Jordan, you're not eligible, but
put those guesses out.
If you get, I got mine. So.
You got your swag.
Yeah.
See, I wore mine to work today, and I got compliments at work because they know. Yeah. Oh, yep. You better put that away before the bus comes after it.
Oh man.
All right. All right. Well, that'll wrap up, I think, this week's episode.
Yep.
We've got it unlocked. Let's just see where we go from here.
Yep. Go Irish, beat Virginia.
And thanks for being on, Jordan.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Irish 365 podcast.
You can find us wherever you get your podcast.
We are on YouTube, X, Instagram, and Facebook.
Just search for Irish 365 Pod.
And you can always reach us at our email, irish365pod@gmail.com.
Good night.
And God bless.